Welcome dear students. In this video lecture we are going to start the fourth unit, surface finishing processes. So this unit contents are completely dedicated to give you a great idea on what are all the various surface finishing operations to be carried out on the metallic materials after various fabrication processes, and what are all the importance of finishing a surface, what are the expectations in the machines. So these all things we are going to study. So this unit can be split into two chapters based on the contents. Chapter 1, conventional grinding process. Chapter 2, special surface finishing processes. So we can start with the chapter 1. Before that, let's have a small idea on what is actually a surface. Surface is the outer or exterior boundary of an object which is going to have the direct contact with the surroundings. The bulk subsurface is called as substrate, which is has the grain structure that depends on previous processing of the metal. If you process a metal with the forming, the grain structure is different. If you process the metal with the casting, now also the grain structure is different than the forming. If you process with machining, now also it's different. So in that way, the subsurface is nothing but the substrate of the material, and the outer surface is called as the boundary. That's our surface. This surface having roughness, waviness and flaws, and it may also have some pattern or directional pattern depending on the process used. If you bring out a steel plate through a process of rolling, the surface pattern is different. If you finish the surface with the help of a turning process or a facing process, then also the surface pattern is different. And the surface quality of the object seriously affects the performance, like assembly fit or chemical resistance or resistance against the weathering agents, and the look of the metallic object is purely based on its surface finish. In some cases, the vision of the object is completely based on its surface perfectness. A perfectly finished surface gives a better impression for selecting it for the particular purpose. It may be engineering purpose or it may be a fancy purpose. And what are the objective of surface preparation? Why we need to prepare the surface? Smooth surfaces which is free from scratches or any asperities will get good visual impression from the customer, and the surface which is completely free from any uneven projections or depressions is safety for handling, and friction and other issues may be reduced due to a perfectly finished surface. And a good surface will provide good mechanical properties while it is connected with other parts. For example, if you are going to use a connecting rod, the surface of the connecting rod should be perfectly machined, perfectly finished. Then only this won't develop any uneven or unnecessary friction or noise or heat when it is working along with any other parts. So particularly rotating parts and reciprocating parts, which are all having relative movement with other machine elements in the machinery, are needed to be finished their surface in a perfect way. Sometimes some specific properties can be achieved through only the perfect surface finish. For example, the mirror-like finishing or the reflectiveness. So these kind of some specific properties can be achieved only through the surface preparation. So for this kind of engineering and non-engineering requirements, we are in need of finish the surface of metallic components after machining or after forming or casting. So what are all the various kind of surface finishing operations and their range of accuracy? See, in normal, if you just after the process of turning on a material, The roughness is nearly 1.25 to 12.5 micrometer. So this kind of roughness is macro level, and this won't develop a smooth surface handling. And after the process of grinding, so we can get some additional surface finish. If you gone for the honing process, again you can improve the surface smoothness. Even after that, if you going for a lapping process, further the smoothness can be improved. And at the last, recently developed super finishing processes will give you a mirror like finishing on the metallic materials, and extreme level of smoothness and surface finish can be achieved by using the super finishing processes. So in this unit, in the first chapter, we are going to study the grinding process. In the next chapter, we are going to study about the honing, lapping, and super finishing process. Many super finishing processes are developed by the researchers, particularly polishing, buffing, and in this unit, we are going to study only about the buffing process in the super finishing category. Let's start with the chapter 1, conventional grinding process. Actually, conventional grinding process, which you already practiced in your laboratory, it is an abrasive machining process. Generally, the workpiece is moved towards the rotating grinding wheel and made to touch it. So, the grinding wheel is nothing but an abrasive wheel made up of abrasive material and a bonding material. See here. So this is nothing but the concept image of a grinding wheel. The grinding wheel is majorly composed of the bonding material. In the bonding material, the abrasive particles are embedded in the outer periphery of the grinding wheel. When you made your workpiece to touch this rotating grinding wheel, each and every abrasive particles are acting as cutting edges and remove the material from the parent metal, that is in your workpiece, in micro level. So the removed parts are in the form of swath. Swath are nothing but microchips. So in this way, the material removal is happen. No doubt, the material removal rate in the process of grinding is very very low when you compare with the turning and facing. But the surface finish is very very good when you compare with the turning, facing, or shaping or planning. So in this way, the grinding operation is carried out by means of the grinding wheel. This is actually the concept diagram. This is your workpiece and this is your grinding wheel. And due to the presence of the high sharp abrasive particles embedded in the surface of the grinding wheel, you are going to remove the material from the workpiece. So this is the micro level image, and due to the presence of the bonding material only, the abrasive particles are sticked with the grinding wheel. Maybe one doubt arises with you: is there is any possibility for the abrasive particles to detach out from that grinding wheel after prolonged usage? Definitely it will happen. After a prolonged usage of the grinding wheel, this particles, these abrasive particles can maybe detached out, or sometimes they will lost its sharpness also. So during that times, the grinding wheel will work with lesser efficiency only. So in that condition, we need to maintain the grinding wheel after a prolonged usage of time. Two kind of maintenance activities can be done on a grinding wheel. One is grinding wheel dressing, another one is grinding wheel truing. Grinding wheel dressing is nothing but reloading the grinding wheel in order to compensate the loss of the abrasive particles. So fresh abrasive particles are loaded in the outer surface of the grinding wheel in order to compensate the detachment of the older abrasive particles. This is nothing but dressing of the grinding wheel. And the truing of the grinding wheel is nothing but after the prolonged usage of the grinding wheel, the roundness of the grinding wheel may get affected. So after a time of usage of months or weeks, the exact roundness, the circularity of the grinding wheel may be affected. So in order to make it perfect circle, a truing process can be done to make it perfect circle. So these two maintenance activities need to be done on the grinding wheel for making it to work better. And this just a image of various kind of grinding wheels used in the abrasive machining process. So the colors are different because these grinding wheels are manufactured with different kind of abrasive particles and bond materials. The important parts in the grinding wheel are the bond material and the abrasive particle. Based on the type of workpiece material we are going to use, you can select a particular type of bonding material and particular type of abrasive particle and the size of the grinding wheel also. So in that we are further we are going to discuss what are all the important parameters we need to consider while, sorry for the interruption students. So these are all the important parameters which are needed to be considered while selecting the grinding wheel, and based on these parameters only we can categorize a grinding wheel. Abrasive material, which abrasive material is used in the grinding wheel, and what is the size of the abrasive particle, and which bond material is used to stick the abrasive particles in the grinding wheel, and what is the grade of the grinding wheel, and what is the structure of the grinding wheel. So these are all the important parameters which are reflecting the ability and suitability of a particular grinding wheel. We will see one by one. First of all, abrasive material, the important part in the grinding wheel, which is going to act as a material removal medium. So it is can be divided into natural and synthetic. Naturally available sandstone, emery, corundum, and diamond are generally used as abrasive particles in the grinding wheels. In addition, the synthetic abrasive particles also used. Silicon carbide, aluminum oxide are also used. In addition, we can go for CBN also, cubic boron nitride, can also be used as a abrasive material while developing the grinding wheels. And the silicon carbide and aluminum oxide are the regularly used abrasive particles for making the grinding wheels. The silicon carbide abrasive particles comprises of 56% silica sand, 34% powdered coke, and 2% salt, and 12% sawdust. They are two in types, green grit and black grit. They are mostly used for brittle materials grinding. And the aluminum oxide abrasive particles are mainly made up of mineral bauxite mixed with the ground coke and iron shavings. They are more tough and fracture resistant. They can used for grinding high speed steel like hardest materials. You can machine tungsten or molybdenum, chromium, nickel. These kind of tough materials can be grind by using the aluminum oxide abrasive particles. And the abrasive size is generally given in terms of the grid number. Grid number is nothing but the smallest opening per linear inch of the screen through which the grain will pass. So if the grid number is lower, then the size of the abrasive is higher. If the grid number is higher, then the size of the abrasive particle is lower. So these are all the table shows the various kind of abrasive particles based on its size. So coarse abrasive, medium size, fine, and very fine. You can see the very fine abrasive particles are having higher grid numbers, and coarse size abrasive particles are having lower grid number. And the bond material, the bond material is nothing like that, the matrix like part in the grinding wheel which is used to hold the abrasive particles. See here, this part is nothing but the pore. This gray color part is nothing but the bond material. The bond material's purpose is this will bind the abrasive particles together in the outer surface of the grinding wheel. So these are all the various kind of bond materials generally used for making the grinding wheels. Vitrified bond, silicate bond, oxychloride bond, resinide bond, shellac bond, and rubber bond. And each bond material is mentioned with an alphabet in the manufacturer's specifications. And vitrified bond are the clay bond. They are reddish brown in color. Feldspar is the base material. They are highly moisture resistance and other chemical resistance, can be used for most of the climatic conditions, and they are highly homogeneous in structure. This picture shows the grinding wheel made up of the vitrified bond, and the silicate bond is another majorly used bond material for making the grinding wheels. It's based on the silicate of soda, and it's light gray in color. It is smooth and cool cutting operation. Okay, by using this silicate bond grinding wheels, we can have the smooth cutting operation. In your laboratory also, you may see this kind of silicate bonded grinding wheels. And about the grade of the grinding wheel refers to the bond strength or overall hardness of the grinding wheel. So we can have three different grades, that is a soft, medium, hard. So this will reflect the strength or overall hardness of the grinding wheel. The soft category can be mentioned from the alphabet A to I, and medium category mentioned between J to P, and hard category can be mentioned with Q to Z. So based on the particular alphabet, we can estimate the softness or hardness of the particular grinding wheel. The structure of the grinding wheel refers to the relationship between the volume of abrasive material, volume of bond, and volume of voids. So this is nothing but the structure. The three important part of the grinding wheel are the bond material, abrasive particle, and the empty voids. So how much abrasive material is loaded, how much bond material is loaded, how much voids are present. So these things are refers to the structure of the grinding wheel. So in this is nothing but the designation of the grinding wheel, or sometimes called a specification of the grinding wheel. Any grinding wheel, if you are see, the grinding wheel is denoted with a specified number. So this number set will give you the complete idea on the grinding wheels various parameters. For example, the first part of the name specification name of the grinding wheel will give you the abrasive type. So A refers a particular abrasive, B refers some other abrasive, and the second portion, this portion refers the grain size, abrasive grain size of the grinding wheel. Here it is mentioned as 50. So it's a coarse grain. So the third portion mentioned the grade of the grinding wheel. So it is Q. It is mentioned as Q. So Q in the sense it is under the hard category. So by mentioning the 50, it is coming under the medium size abrasive. So in this way, we have to understand what kind of abrasive used, what size of abrasive used, what is the grade of the grinding wheel, and the fourth portion is nothing but the structure. So it is 8. And the fifth portion mentioned the type of bond material used. Here it is mentioned as V, so it is a vitrified bond. And the last digits mentioned as manufacturer's private marking. Maybe it's based on the year, or based on the batch number, or based on the plant number, whatever it may be. So these all things can be mentioned in each and every grinding wheel in order to understand the nature of the grinding wheel. Let's have a look on what are the classification of the grinding process and the machines. And here the grinding process can be widely classified into surface grinding, form grinding, and cylindrical grinding. In our contest, we are focusing only on the surface grinding and cylindrical grinding. In surface grinding itself, we are having various kind of machines, that is horizontal spindle machine, vertical spindle machine. In horizontal spindle itself, reciprocating table and rotating table. In vertical spindle machines itself, reciprocating table and rotating table. In the same way, for cylindrical grinding, we are having external cylindrical grinding and internal cylindrical grinding. In again plain and centerless types. So these are all the various kind of grinding operations performed in the workshop. We will see one by one. So the surface grinding can be divided into 4 different types in our contest. So based on the type of spindle used and based on the type of table used, we can use horizontal spindle or vertical spindle against a rotating table or reciprocating table. In that way, we can have 4 different combinations on the type of spindle and a type of table. First, we can go for discussing the horizontal spindle reciprocating table. See this machine. In that machine, we are having the grinding wheel, which is rotating with respect to the horizontal axis. That's why we call it as horizontal spindle machine. And the table here is the reciprocating table. This will move left to right and right to left, and it's not rotating. And the other parts of the machinery are simply column to hold the grinding wheel head, and the saddle and the base in order to support the table. So this is nothing but the detailed diagram of the horizontal spindle reciprocating table grinding machine. This can be you maybe used it in our laboratory also. So here the workpiece is loaded in the top surface of the reciprocating table through a magnetic chuck, and then during the operation, the workpiece can be fed against the rotating grinding wheel. The feed depth can be adjusted by using various vertical feed hand wheel and other attachments of the machine to have the grinding operation. And the same way we can have the horizontal spindle rotating table machine also. So here the axis of rotation of the grinding wheel is horizontal, and the table is not the reciprocating table, it is rotating table. So number of workpieces can be ground at a time by using the rotating table. And this is nothing but the vertical spindle reciprocating table grinding machine. The axis of rotation of the grinding wheel is vertical, and the table's movement is reciprocation. So the other parts are same, like base and column and the wheel head, everything are same. And in order to give the feed and the depth of cut, separate attachments are used here. And this machine is nothing but vertical spindle rotating table machine. Here also the axis of rotation of the grinding wheel is vertical, and instead of having the reciprocating table, we are having a rotating table. So generally for the plate like or circular plate like objects can be ground simply by using this kind of machines. And for the cylindrical grinding can be used for the rod type workpieces. For external grinding and internal grinding for the hollow pipes also can be done by using the cylindrical grinding machine. Here also we can have several combinations as external cylindrical grinding and internal cylindrical grinding. External cylindrical grinding plain and external cylindrical grinding centerless. The same category we can find in the internal cylindrical grinding also. So this machine shows the external cylindrical operation. A workpiece is set between the rotating spindles, and here we are having the horizontal axis rotation grinding wheel, which will fit against the rotating workpiece in order to grind the surface. And this also again a view. And this is nothing but the external cylindrical centerless grinding process. We need not to hold the workpiece between the chucks or the spindle dock areas. Here you can see the workpiece is hold in the dock area of the spindle, but here the workpiece is not connected with any work holding devices. Simply it is fed between the two rollers. Here a control wheel is there, and this is nothing but the grinding wheel. Between these two, the workpiece is just left on the work rest plate. So during the operation, there is no spindle drive is used to rotate your workpiece. Only the grinding wheel rotates. That rotation will be affect the workpiece, and material removal is done in the surface of the workpiece. For the long workpieces, this kind of centerless grinding operation can be done. And the same can be done for the internal grinding also. See here, it is internal cylindrical grinding. The internal surface of the hollow workpieces can be done with the help of this internal cylindrical grinding process. The grinding wheel, which is in the form of cylindrical rod, can be fed the inside surface of your workpiece in order to finish the internal surface. So this diagram shows the internal cylindrical centerless grinding process. See, this is your workpiece and it's your regulating wheel, its pressure roller and its support roller, and inside we are having the grinding wheel. So the internal surface of your workpiece can be ground by using this process. So these are all the various kind of grinding operations followed in the laboratory in order to finish the surface of flat and cylindrical. Thank you.